Let's try again with Dr. Alan Mendoza from the Henry Jackson Society. I think we've got your phone line. How concerned are you about this giving a speech at this time? Good morning again.
Hello, Nick. Well, of course, very concerned. I mean, she's a terrorist, plain and simple. She hijacked a plane, tried to hijack another plane, and since then she's shown sympathy repeatedly for terrorism and for terrorists. So given the heightened concerns in this country right now about extremism, and given what members of Parliament have been saying and what the Prime Minister has been saying, it seems quite extraordinary that any organisation would invite her to speak to a British audience today.
What do you think should happen now?
Well, I think that pressure needs to be put on the Palestine Solidarity Campaign to completely disavow her and say this was wrong, we shouldn't have invited her, and we're not interested in showcasing the worst elements of Palestinian society, which she clearly is one of.
What would you say to someone who effectively denies the events of October the 7th ever took place?
Well, I would say look at the facts. Get round your prejudices, get around your propaganda, and look at the actual facts that have been verified by numerous sources rather than fake facts or things that don't exist that have been verified by nobody. There's a general problem, Nick, in today's society that people don't seem to understand how to verify actual facts and sources versus propaganda. And I think we have to do better in education and beyond to make sure that people do understand the difference.
The Prime Minister addressed this on Friday. I'm sure you've heard or you've read his comments. Did he go far enough?
Well, he's made a very good start, I say, because, of course, he has highlighted the problem, made it clear it is now a government priority. But when you say, has he gone far enough? No, because he hasn't yet put the meat on the bones, as it were. We haven't seen what this new approach looks like practically. How will extremism be defined and how will it be driven out of our society? That's the next bit of this project.
In the first hour of the show, we were speaking about the fact that George Galloway has now been elected into the House of Commons. He's representing Rochdale, and we spoke with the deputy leader of the Workers' Party, Peter Ford, a former diplomat, who seemed to double down on how Mr. Galloway referenced the Holocaust yesterday. Again, the work you do at the Henry Jackson Society addressing the issues of extremism, how worried are you about that?
Well, obviously, I think everyone in the country is worried about George Galloway being in Parliament and using Parliament as a platform for his hardcore views. That's quite clear. I think the way to sort of get around that is not necessarily to focus on Mr. Galloway himself, but to focus on attacking extremism in general and then highlighting the ways that we're going to drive it out. If that can be done, then we stand a chance of winning this long-term war.
And lastly, to those who say that there is a thing called freedom of speech, she should be allowed a platform. It's for people to decide whether they want to spend £25 to attend the event in Birmingham. Again, how would you respond?
Well, freedom of speech goes so far in this country. There is something called hate speech. There is something called glorification of terrorism, and Parliament has decided that those things are beyond the pale. It really is quite clear that at this time in particular, we cannot stand on absolute free speech and have to look at the content of who people are and what they might be saying and stopping them if we feel that that is crossing a line, which it clearly would be in this case.